So actually, I'm going to ask you guys if you would say the Serenity Prayer with me. It'll help me. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Thy will, not mine, be done, please, because my way brings suffering. So I'm going to start out with one of my favorite lines in 12-step literature, which is from the AA 12 and 12. And it starts out on step 12 with the joy of living is the theme of AA's 12-step, and action is its keyword. And I just love that because it's a reminder that as a result of working all these steps, I change emotionally, I change spiritually, and I suspect that even my brain changes. It really, working the steps have had a profound impact on me. And the way I work my program is I work the steps in sequence and I work them over and over and over. So at this point, I've actually lost track of how many times I've formally worked the steps. I came into DA in 1996. And this summer I'll have a birthday. I'll have 25 years if I don't do anything nuts between now and September. So, and I also want to just take a moment and thank everyone who's doing service on this. It's really wonderful. Joan, thank you for your magnificence and for carrying the message. So for me, I do a lot of 12-step work, and I think of it as being carrying the message. There's direct and indirect. So I directly carry the message when I speak to someone about DA. I indirectly carry the message through my behavior. And so I indirectly carry the message with family members, with people that I work with, just when I'm out in the world in general. So I took a few notes because it's 9 p.m. here and I need my prompts. So let's see. So as I mentioned, I've done a lot of 12-step work. And the reason that I've done a lot of 12-step work is that for some bizarre reason, people confide in me about their troubles around their finances. I don't know why this is, but it's a way that my higher power has asked me to do service over the course of my time in recovery. And the way I approach the situation when someone is telling me what their trouble is, if it sounds like it's a DA issue, I hear them out. And then I say, have you ever heard of Debtors Anonymous? And that's how I begin the conversation. I don't walk up to people that that I think could use the program and hit them with it cold. I wait until that person has opened emotionally and they are in a moment of recognition that they have a problem and that they don't know what the solution is. And I'm able to share with them the solution as I've experienced it. And the only time I go up to someone who's not directly speaking to me, there have been some times like that. There was one time I was in a meeting in another fellowship, not a money fellowship. And there was a gentleman who was talking about how he was suicidal over his debts. And I went up to him after the meeting and said, may I comment on your share? And he said, yes. And I said, have you ever heard of Debtors Anonymous? And, he's been in the program. He's been a DA for a long time now. He's a valued member of the fellowship. So in terms of, I think I want to say something more about the direct piece of carrying the message. For me, it's about, because I'm a recovering debtor, and because I suffered so terribly from the effects of this spiritual malady. I don't feel judgment when someone talks to me about their problems with money, because even as a woman in recovery, I'm still challenged. I still have the spiritual malady. It hasn't gone away. I'm just better able to choose not to participate with the things that my disease suggests would be a really good idea to do. So that puts me in a very particular, it puts me in an advantageous situation to carry the message, because I personally know the effects of this disease. It's not something that it's not intellectual knowledge, it's emotional knowledge. I'm very keenly aware of the pain and the distress that this disease causes. And as a result of doing the steps and all the crazy things that people in recovery suggest I do, which are healthy for me.
5 minutes.
Was that 5, John? Okay. I have a happy life, and I'm more functional than I was when I got here. So in terms of indirect amends, that would be the thing that I remind myself when I'm out in the world and I'm participating in finances. One of my visions that I say often is I experience intimacy with myself, my higher power, and others when I'm in the presence of money. And I remind myself when I'm out and about that I may be the only person that someone comes in contact with. I may be the only contact that someone has with DA. And so, what else do I want to say about that? I had been in DA for 6 years when I met my husband, and it took him, he knows all the dates, I've lost track. I think it was, golly, I think it was like 8 or 9 years before he came into DA, maybe 8 years or something. And he was very skeptical about the program, but he watched me, and he just observing how I kept my numbers. I cash out every night. I had PRGs. I had a spending plan that I referred to. He saw me in action, and there's the idea that my behavior around money, how I treat myself and others in the presence of money, speaks louder than words. That is a form of 12 step, the way I comport myself. So what else do I want to say about indirect? Well, in one sense, everything's a 12 step, isn't it? Because we observe each other. And yeah, so I've heard it said that going to meetings and sharing is a form of carrying the message. That's a form of the 12th step. Working with others is carrying the message, carrying the 12th step. It's such a personal thing. And often there's this little prayer that gurgles up out of me when I realize that I have an opportunity to share with someone the solution, as I've discovered in Debtors Anonymous. And it usually goes like this: God, do you really want me to tell this person about this? And the answer is usually yes. And it takes courage to do that. The way I approach it is I am just there to share the information. What the person does with it is none of my business. I think I'm good at the 12th step because I'm also good at working with wild animals. And honestly, I think of addicts as, at least for me, before I got into recovery, I was definitely feral. And so I give them their space. I don't back them into a corner. I just, I give them the information and then I tiptoe away. And more often than not, they want more information and they reach out to me again and they go to a meeting and then they start their journey. And, you know, God bless the person who 12 stepped me. The impact that he's had on my life is so significant. And the impact that he's had on the lives of others that I've told, and then the people that they've told, it's a beautiful thing. So there's no right or wrong way to do it. I just had to find my way. And the last thing that I'll say is that the value of a lit candle is that it can light another candle. And that's really ultimately what the 12 step is about. And the more of us that are lit up, the better the world is and the better my personal world is too. So thank you for asking me to share, and merci.